Fox 16 News update now, and what seems like a never-ending legal battle over adding prison beds in Arkansas. A Pulaski County Circuit judge rules against a law being debated for weeks. Judge Patricia issued a preliminary injunction just over an hour ago against the law regarding the authority of the Board of Corrections versus the governor. Our Samantha Boyd has been following this legal drama and was in the courtroom today for the hearing. Yeah, Sam, in the simplest of terms, just break it down for us and explain what this ruling means.
Yeah, Kevin, certainly a lot happening today in the courtroom, but basically what this means is the Secretary of Corrections is now back under the authority of the Board of Corrections rather than the governor. And what that means is the Board of Corrections now has the power again to fire the Secretary of Corrections. And based on today's hearing, that certainly seems like a possibility. The ruling today comes after a temporary restraining order had been granted in favor of the board against Governor Sarah Sanders and Secretary Joe Porfiry, putting the law on hold to begin with. Now, the entire issue, if you remember, started when Sanders and Attorney General Tim Griffin, along with Porfiry, called on the board to add more prison beds in a press conference last month in order to create more space. The board did approve adding part of those requested beds, but not all of them, saying it's not doable because of low staffing and even lack of space. A former divisions director today actually claimed the secretary made comments about putting inmates in tents outside if necessary, just to expand prison capacity in the state. Act 189 passed in the last session placed the corrections secretary under the governor rather than the board, which the board says violates Amendment 33 of the state constitution. This created a power struggle between the board and the secretary over that disagreement on adding beds. Testimony today indicated some serious concerns by the board and some witnesses about Secretary Porfiry's loyalty to the governor rather than the board and his leadership over the Department of Corrections. We spoke with the board chairman, Benny Magnus, today for the first time following the ruling, and the board's special counsel as well. The special counsel had to be brought in by the board separately since the attorney general usually would represent them, but has made clear he's on the governor's side in this case and is actually suing them as well.
Procedure that the attorney general was advocating for, we heard it. Oh, we'll sit down and we'll talk amongst elected officials. And what they were saying is, no, they were not going to allow this suit to proceed. And so I think it's essential. I think it's an essential feature of the law that there is an exit hatch outside of the grasp of the attorney general.
I'm not a political person. I didn't get on the board to be political. None of us thought this was or needed to be or was a political move. We just wanted to make sure and secure the vested powers of the Board of Corrections where we could properly manage it.
Now, I've also received a statement from Attorney General Tim Griffin just within the last hour in response to this ruling. It says, quote, "While I am disappointed in the ruling, I am confident in the work of my extraordinary team of attorneys and staff. In the case, we are preparing an appeal to the Arkansas Supreme Court." Now, as I mentioned, the Attorney General has also sued the Board of Corrections over what he says is a violation of the Freedom of Information Act. That hearing is set for later in January. Of course, I'll continue following that and keep you guys posted. But again, as I mentioned, this whole issue really started with the push to add more prison beds, and we asked Chairman Magnus about that problem today because that still is a problem. He says they're going to be looking at solutions. They're going to continue working on this, and they are willing even to work with the state despite what might now be an awkward situation. Reporting live from Little Rock, Samantha Boyd, Fox 16 News.
All right, Samantha.